This is 2 eggs and spray butter on the light English muffin, 0 on Today is May 17th. Coming to you with a little bit of a life update. Nothing major. A lot of stress going on, and I just want to kind of vent a little bit, maybe, so to speak. You will already have seen my breakfast for today, because I'm back on plan. When I say back on plan, I'm fixing to tell you. Okay, let me get a drink because I'm thirsty. Lemonade. Oops, excuse me, sorry. I started out good yesterday. Here's a picture of my breakfast. It was a good breakfast. And I had lunch. I was a little busy yesterday, and I had lunch, and here was what I had for lunch. Yep, that's what I had for lunch. And then I had some, watermelon. And everything's going good. I talked to my daughter that afternoon. She's coming over for dinner after work because, she wanted to do her laundry, and she said, I'll be over about dinner time. And I said, I'll make you dinner. And I know she likes chicken piccata. So I did make chicken piccata. I made a light version of it. I did not take a picture of it because, like I say, when I get to that part, you'll understand at this point in time. Now, let me stop the story there. I have a neighbor next door who rents that house. The people live there now, rent the house. I know the owners because when we first moved here 20 years ago, they lived there. They haven't lived there. They live in North Carolina now, and I think they've been gone 4 or 5 years, and they rent the house out. We know who the people are that rented the house out. I don't know. I guess they're having a hard time paying their rent, whatever. I don't really know what's going on over there. And we do talk to the guy that owns the house. He calls us, and we talk to him because they are friends. And they're all a bunch of band people. I'm trying to make so y'all kind of understand. They're a bunch of band people. And there's this one guy, we'll call him Nutcase, who is a bad alcoholic. I mean, bad. Cheap vodka, big bottles a day. Bad alcoholic, okay? He's ruined his marriage. Now, I known him when we were all in our 30s. You know, he was married, they played in bands, he was always a little off, but I guess he became an alcoholic as time went on. Well, a couple years ago, I guess he disappeared in New York City. And the owner of the house next door heard about this. He always wants to fix everybody. Because his sister or somebody couldn't get a hold of him, got a hold of him in years, blah, 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 blah. So I guess somehow the owner of the house over there, because I don't want to say names, somehow found him. I don't know how, because like I say, I don't get into people's lives in detail. I maintain my own until you step on my boundaries, okay? And tells him to come down here and tell the people that are renting the house now to rent you a room. Now, yes, the people that are renting the house are way behind in their rent. They're all friends, okay? You let it go on for as long as you did, that's your own fault. But like I say, I don't get into other people's. Live and let live is what I say, until you step on my boundaries. So, which that really has nothing to do with it. You owe somebody rent money, then you need to kick them out the proper way. You don't send people, and they have a little girl over there because the lady that lives there has a niece that was pregnant in jail, and they ended up raising the baby because this girl's in and out of jail. So they've been taking care of this baby, okay? Well, she's like 3 or 4. So I guess they've been there for 4 or 5 years 6 years. They might have been there longer than that. Time flies by so fast. And they're really no problem at all. They never bother us. They're nice people. I mean, I have no problem with them. So, and the renter of that house knows this guy that was missing in New York City, okay? So, but I don't think he knew how bad of a drunk he was. Well, here he is. He's living there. Okay. He's been living there now maybe a month and a half. And I have a man that lives in my garage. See, I do my share with the homeless. He lives in my husband's man cave, and he helps with my animals when I'm not around. He's very good with his animals, and he also has other house sitting jobs he does for animals. I don't know why he doesn't go get a job, but you know, that's not my business. Anyway, and he doesn't bother. I mean, these people know how far to push me that live in my house, especially him. So, because I've only put up with so much. So he also knows this guy that was living over there, sent down from New York. So he'd come over here and visit with him all the time, you know, and he'd go back over. Well, I guess they had words over there because I'm sure they got tired of looking at a drunk. And I mean a bad drunk. I have never seen anybody so bad. So he was kicked out a day before yesterday. The guy threw his bed out, his clothes, and everything out in the yard. And he came over here day before yesterday and was talking to the other guy that lives in my garage. And he left, okay? The next day, which is yesterday, he shows back up over here. Now, the guy that's living in my garage had a sciatic attack yesterday, so he was trying to lay off of it and stuff. But also, he created some of this problem at the same time. Because I go out there to start laundry, and here I got this drunk in my garage, passed out in a chair in my garage. And the guy who lives in my garage is in his room, locked. I knocked on the door. He's ignoring it because he doesn't want... They're cowards. They don't want to get involved. I couldn't believe how between the tails these men are. But anyway, so I go back into the house. I text my husband. Who is that? You better... What are you going to do about this? I said. And so he comes home. He doesn't say nothing because that's another one there. They don't like confrontation, but you're not doing anything about it. It's your house, okay? Well, let me back up a little because I got a little ahead of myself. He does end up going back over there. When I saw him asleep in the garage in the early afternoon, like 11 o'clock in the afternoon, he did, because I was in the office, and I did see him get up because the guy in the garage did not come out, and he thought he left. And I seen him go back over there, which I thought was odd because I thought he was kicked out of there. So I'm still in the office, I'm doing stuff in the office, and I see the renter of the house drive up in his truck. And I'm like, ooh, I'm just getting a weird feeling. Something ain't right here. Well, we see him get out of the truck, and me and even the secretary get outside, and we're like listening. We didn't hear nothing. So, well, I guess everything's fine. So we're in the office doing our thing. Next thing we know, the guy who lives in my garage comes in and says, oh my God, the cops are next door. They parked down the street and they walked up with SWAT outfits on. And we're like, what in the world is going on? Well, I know exactly what happened. The guy who rents the house came home, saw the drunk in his house that he kicked out, and told him to get out. Now, the drunk called 911 and said that he would hold a gun to his head. He doesn't have a gun. To my best of my knowledge, they don't have a gun. I've known them for a very long time, and, you know, and I'm thinking, so I guess when the cops came and was talking to him, and I'm sure the drunk saying, but my friend in North Carolina said he can rent me a room, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, but you're not, this is the man who rents the house, not you. He has no right to do that, you know, so he had to leave. Well, where do you think he comes? The cop escorts him right to my front gate because I'm sure the drunk's going, I'll go next door, my friend, you know. and comes over and escorts him right to my front gate. Now, the cop doesn't come into my yard. My whole yard's fenced in. And here he comes. And also, he, on the outside of the gate, on the corner, dropped off his bicycle and a bunch of bags of stuff outside the gate, okay? And I'm like, I go out to the garage and I say, what's going on? And the man that lives in my garage and the drunk, oh, you know, he's going to call his daughter. She's going to be here about 1 o'clock. This is now going on about 12:30. 1 o'clock, come pick him up, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, well, you can't stay here. No, I know. I'm just going to call my daughter, blah, 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 blah. His daughter didn't want him. He stayed out there and called people, fell asleep in the chair with the phone going beep, 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 beep. Because I told the man that lives in my garage, when I wake up from my nap, he better not be here. When I woke up from my nap, I find him in the chair, passed out. Scaredy cat's in his room with the door shut. He's passed out with the phone going beep, beep. My husband's like, well, that's why I couldn't get a hold of you. You know, this is a business phone. And that's when I went back in and that's when I text my husband, what are you going to do about this? And by this time it's 4:30, okay? Well, you're supposed to be out here by 1. So the man that lives in my garage comes out. Oh no, he's going to be gone soon, you know. They're all filling me full of bullshit. And it's getting later. Now, in the meantime, my daughter's coming over. I'm cooking dinner for us. My daughter's like, you want me to get rid of him? Mom, I'll get rid of him. I said, Alex, I don't need you to get rid of him. It's just not, I'm just, you know, just let me handle it. You know, she's like, I'll be more, you know. My daughter. She said, ain't nobody going to be messing with you, you know. And I said, we can handle ourselves. Granted, my husband was no help. He's like the man in the garage. Doesn't want confrontation. Doesn't give a shit. I don't know where he's at half the time. I really don't. So anyway, I'm sitting there in the bedroom thinking, watching TV, excuse me, getting madder and madder, thinking this is my house. I can't go to bed till this sucker's out of here. This is after. Now, then, meantime, we had dinner. We had the chicken piccata. That's why I didn't get a picture of it, because I was just... my mind was just to go, and I probably ate more than I should have. I did binge last night. That's another thing. That's why I don't feel good today, because I binged, because I'm a stress eater. I am born and raised stress eater. I learned that when I was on my camping trip, because I had no stress, and I ate when I was hungry, and yes. And I have been trying to stop myself, because when I realized it from camping, I was a stress eater. I'm trying to stop myself. But it was just, everything was just overwhelming yesterday. And I did. My daughter comes, she's doing her laundry. She comes and she goes. Drunk is still out there. So, we're watching TV. And I'm binge eating. I'm eating Pop-Tarts, flip pretzels. One side's a pretzel, one's a cracker with cream cheese. Chocolate. That might be it. But there was enough. That's not good. You know, and I probably ate more of dinner. You know, I made it because it was pointed out. I had it all pointed. I think the whole dinner was like 6 points. But I know I ate extra piccata, which, you know, has flour. And I did it the skinny way with very little butter, mostly lemon and chicken broth, which is very good with the capers and the lemons in it. It's delicious. You don't need all that fat. I prefer it that way anyway, but still, I ate more than I should. Ice cream cone. I ate ice cream. You know, I was just, because sometimes I feel like I'm in this, So it was finally going on about 9 o'clock, because, it was about 7:30, somebody's coming to get him. Somebody's coming to get him, and they're on their way now. By 9 o'clock, I go out there. There's nobody. He's still here. That's over an hour and a half ago. Where do these people live? I know nobody's coming miles and miles away for this worthless piece of crap, because ain't nobody wants anything to do with them. And I'm surprised he found somebody, because let me tell you what happened. When I went out there at 9 o'clock, he's still there. I'm thinking, you ain't got no ride. You're playing me for a fool, because he's sitting in my garage now, surrounded by all his bags and his bikes up here. I said, you get the hell out of my garage. Get your shit out of here. And I go over and I bang on the door where the guy that lives in my garage is, and I says, you get out of here and you help him get his shit out there. Well, he's got somebody coming. I said, I don't care. You get his shit and him on the other side of that fence, and he can wait on the other side of that fence. So, meantime, my little kitty gets out, and I bring her in at night. So I'm trying to, I got to get the cat. And so I guess he told the guy that lives in my garage that I'll get my own stuff, because then the guy that lives in my garage, when I was holding the gate open and he was putting his stuff there, and then the drunk comes back, I guess, to get another thing, and I've caught my cat, but she's peeing, so I'm waiting for her to stop peeing, and I was going to pick her up, and he's telling me I've got no soul. I told him he drank his soul, and and he says, I just can't. I says, I don't owe you anything. You are nothing but a low-life drunk. I'd be the first one to help anybody, but you are beyond help. Especially when he's telling the guy in the garage last night, because he came and told me this, he actually had to ask me, am I that bad of a drunk? I said, if you got to ask. I mean, I have never seen a more worthless drunk in my life. I mean, I don't know. And then he's in the hospital last week getting his heart checked because he's got heart problems. Whose dime is paying for that? Oh, I mean, I was livid. So you could see where all this, and believe me, I deal with a lot of stress like this around my house, and this is why I got to get the hell out of here. And I have decided what I'm going to do. But let me finish telling you this. So, he's out on the other side of the garage, or the gate. The guy that lives in the garage, I'm picking up my cat. The guy that lives in my garage comes in, shuts the garage. I pick up my cat, go in the front door, come around to say something to him. He's already locked in his room. I was like, you know what? And then he was also the guy, the drunk guy, when he was cussing me out. He says, your mother's a lot nicer person than you. And I'm thinking, what did my mother do? Did she feed this stray? I'm thinking, And I was just livid. I was looking for somebody to scream at. And I went upstairs. She was already in bed. So she didn't get, she was lucky for that. He was locked in his room. My husband pretended he was asleep. So I stayed up, munched on some more crap, I think I had cereal or something, because it was the stress eating. And so I don't know what's going to happen on my diet journey. It's the stress around here. There's too much of it. There's too much. I mean, my mother, my husband, it's all just too much. And there was no way could I handle another person under my roof, that I had to deal with. And certainly not some disrespectful drunk, and who needs that? So, and I told him this morning, the man that lives in my garage, I said he is never to step foot on this property. Because if he does, he's going to get a 5-second warning before I pick up a baseball bat. I'm not putting up with it. I will not put up with that. I will not live in misery for other people on my domain. No way. I used to let people walk over me, and then you live with the anger at yourself because you're letting it happen to you. And you're the one that's miserable and regretful. I'm not living that way. So, and I have no problem sticking up for myself and taking care of myself. I will go up against the biggest, baddest person. I may come out with broken limbs from head to toe, but I am not going to hide. And I can't do this. I can't do this anymore. I can't stand the heat. I can't do this anymore. I can't do it anymore. And so yeah, so I feel better. I vented. Today's another day. I did not go to the gym today, which I know I should because of what I ate last night, but I feel sick. If I don't laugh, I'll cry. And this is my life journey. This is my journey, and I'm not perfect. And I'm sick to my stomach. I did have some eggs and toast because I think I needed to put something in, which I did feel a little bit better, but I'm just don't feel well. I was kind of nauseous doing it, and I know exactly why. But that's how I feel. So I am going to do something totally different when I go on to my camping trip, which I cannot wait. 11 glorious days, my friend. Me and you will have all the time in the world. 11 days. We're going to go see the sights, and we're going to hike. We're going to enjoy it. We're going to enjoy it so much. We're going to an area where there's a lot more to do and see than where I was at. That was a trial run for me to camp, and that's the only place I could find in Florida. Everything was booked, so that's why that worked out, and that was fine because I learned a lot, and I will never regret that situation. It was very good, even with the troubles I had. Yes. So, but while I'm up there, I'm going to be looking at other campgrounds and places that have long-term, where you can put your travel trailer. Instead of buying one that you drive. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I know my husband, if anything goes wrong and it costs a lot of money or it inconveniences him in any way, I'm going to be mud. My name will be Mud. Okay? Not that I cause any problems like this or anything. I even have a sign, all the problems we have is caused by you. Talking to him, caused by him, And I put up with a lot more shit, but that's, I guess, because I rag him all the time with all his stupidity shit that he does. And he has nothing on me, so anything he's going to go with it and 10 times stronger. And God forbid if I was over in Arizona or something, that bothers me a lot because I don't want the confrontation. Plus I was looking at it this way too. My mom is still going to be here. I can't be on the west side and something drastically happens to my mom and I have to come back, whatever. So this is what I'm thinking. I'm going to buy a travel trailer where you have to tow it, not a fifth wheeler. I don't want a fifth wheeler, but a travel trailer. Get a nice one. I can get a nice one for $10,000, $15,000, used, perfect condition. Put it on a long-term campground. They're usually about $500 a month. And I know I don't have a vehicle. That's another thing I was thinking. I don't have a vehicle to tow this. What am I going to do? Well, I know people with trucks. I can hire them to do it for me, or I can rent a truck. You can rent vehicles to do these things. And even if I got up there and I found another place 6 months down the road I want to move, I'd make my husband come up there, we'd rent a vehicle and move it there. This way I can have my van and my home will be stationary. That's where it'll be. Won't be in this heat down here 11 months out of the year. I'll be going to places that I like to be outside, that I can go for a nice walk. You can't do nothing outside. Even the guy that lives in my garage a little while ago, he says, if you don't have to go outside today, don't, because it is hot. I have not stuck my head out there. My air conditioner has been running non-stop since this morning. Once that sun gets up there, my air runs non-stop. This is fine in here now, but when the heat of the summer gets here, I'm going to have to put an air conditioner in this window. I have one in my bedroom because the sun beats on that. And if you don't, this way too, my husband likes it on 80 degrees, then he can have the house 80 degrees. But yeah. So that I think is what I'm going to do. I think that's my plan. So, by the end of the summer, I will probably be able to move. I'll probably be able to move up there by the end of the summer. I will make sure it has a good heater because I will be up there for the winter and I don't mind cold. There's things you can do to your RV for insulating of your water lines and stuff. I've seen it on, that's all I have to do is get up there and insulate that. That's no big deal. I could even do it before I go up there, have my husband make, let's insulate this. And you'll be hooked up to the sewer and up to electric. So, you don't have to worry about running batteries or generators. And, and I would live with the antenna, Roku, and just get internet. I'm sure you'd have to buy your own internet, but I don't need cable. I wouldn't want cable. But I would get the wireless internet for sure. And yeah. And then I could live in peace. I could live in peace and quiet. My husband likes all that rah stuff. I can't handle it. And the older I get, I don't want to be around it. I have gotten set into my ways where I like being by myself. I like being quiet. I am done with the hubbub. It's just too overwhelming and too crazy anymore. And I guess, you look at life different once your kids are grown, and everybody's individual. My marriage is a lot different than other people's marriage. I do not have a normal marriage, believe me. I really don't. And someday down the road, it will all probably come out. And it's nothing bad. It's nothing, it is what it is. And yeah. But when it all said and done, I will come out okay through the whole thing. And I don't regret any of it. I mean, I don't want you to think I regret being married. I do not regret having my daughter. I do not regret in my 30s. The best time of my life was in my 30s because of my husband. It's just that I've grown up and he hasn't. I don't know if that makes sense to some people may understand what I'm saying. He's still doing the same stuff he did when he was in his 20s and in his 30s. That's why we got along so good in the 30s. We were in our 30s because he's been doing this in his 20s, and I never did this stuff. I wasn't that kind of person. I didn't go out. I just didn't, and which I'm glad I had those experiences, and I learned a lot about life and everything. And my daughter was the best thing that ever happened to me, so I don't regret any of it at all. But it's different now. It's different than it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And it's going to be what it's going to be. It might be divorce. May just live separate. I don't know. I know in his mind, this is going to go on forever. I've tried talking. So that's why I'm pretty much on my own path. And he's not going to disagree with anything. Believe me, believe me, if I was in a very stressful, abusive relationship, oh no, we would not have this. I'd already been gone. That's why I can tolerate living here if the people around me quit stressing me out. I'm trying to make it as long as I can to save as much as I can and get as much ducks in a row as I can. But it's like, I feel like I'm in a paper bag and I just can't get out, and life's too short for me to put all my money into this big old house. And I can't get him to see that. And I'm not working. I'm not going to live my retirement for a house. It's not happening. This house will be sold whether it's because we both decide to or through divorce. So the house is going as soon as he realizes that. But anyway, that's down the road. He's still working. He's working. That's, I don't have to be here to work. I'll have internet. I can do stuff from up there. I can even get a fax machine if I have to. Whatever. So I can scan stuff. I'll comment. That's the least of my worries because that would be nothing. So that's pretty much what my life update is going to be. I know this is getting kind of long. It's going on 30 minutes, but I felt I needed to say this because I didn't want to come on here and try to act and like things wrong because I'm not in the greatest mood right now. Or I also did my biorhythm, and this is like my negative time right now. If you ever do biorhythms, I go by them because whenever I'm feeling funny or something, I go look at and I'm like, well, it's the universe. And I keep remembering it's the universe. You need to meditate more and go to exercise more. But you know what? I'm stubborn as a mule. I'm sick to my stomach. I probably, if I didn't feel so sick this morning, I may have gone exercising, but I'm sick to my stomach. I binged and I shouldn't have. God only knows what Friday's going to be. But I'm not going to beat myself up for it. I'm back on it today. You saw my breakfast in the beginning. And you saw what I had yesterday. I did pretty good, except for the binge at the end of the evening. I couldn't take it no more. I was like, yeah. And so this video is so long for right now. So I'm just going to show you after this section here, what I had for lunch and what I had for dinner. At this point, I imagine I really have no points left, so I'm trying to keep it as simply filling as possible. And I don't know if that's going to work. What are we having tonight? What did I take out? Oh, I'm making a crock pot dish tonight, which is on here. You will see that too, because I put that on here, and I will also show you at the end what it looks like and how it tastes. And that's all zero because it's the cabbage, the potatoes, the green beans, the well, it's got chicken thighs and lean pork. So probably a couple points for chicken thighs, you know, add a point or so. But other than that, that's it. It's all in a crock pot cooking, and I'll show you that. It's something I just made up, salt and pepper. Put some garlic in it a little bit, let it cook down a little bit. Yeah, so I will show you what that looks like when that is done, and that's what we're having for dinner. So I probably won't be binging tonight because I feel pretty bad emotionally and physically. So I'll show you my lunch. I don't know what I'm going to have for lunch yet, but when I do, so you kind of see how I'm doing the rest of the day. And then tomorrow's Thursday, and I'm going to try to be good as gold Thursday. Weigh myself, take the consequences, and then go back on it Friday. It's all right. I don't mind. Where am I going? It's my life. This is what I do. I count points. I count. Okay. I'm going to go. I'll talk to you all later. Bye. What am I going to do for supper tonight? I'm just kind of making this up. I have some boneless, skinless chicken breast. No, boneless, skinless chicken thigh. It's frozen. And then I have some lean pork chops. And I have potatoes I'm going to put in there. I'm going to put some cabbage. Wait. And I'm going to put some cabbage and some green beans and a little dash of water. And see what happens. When I get it all put together, I'll show you. Potatoes in it, and then I put one cut up cabbage and salt and pepper. And I'm going to put probably a 1/4 cup of water in it, just so it starts off with something. I'm putting it on high. I'm going to put it on high for a couple of hours, and then once it cooks down a little bit, I'm going to put my green beans on top, kind of mix it up a little bit, and go from there. And we'll see how it goes. Just laid the green beans on top. It's still on high. It's starting to shrink down a little bit. I'm going to leave it on high for a couple more hours, and then flip it all up, and then maybe put it on low. We'll see. Might have to stay on high. It's going to be good. It smells after it cooks down. The meat kind of disintegrates a little bit and goes through it, but it is very tasty. And it's not greasy because everything was made with lean, and it's really good. Yeah. For lunch, I had a Weight Watchers turkey and mashed potato. I didn't take a picture of it because I forgot. And some of these. Let's see here. Let me see. Let's see what's in my refrigerator's a mess here. These things. Fuffles. These are pretty good. I had some.